In my previous life, I was childhood sweethearts with Andrew Sullivan. We grew up together, went to the countryside together. But in the end, we became a resentful couple. On the very day we registered our marriage, his junior schoolmate Sophia got drunk after being harassed by some thugs and jumped into the river to kill herself. Andrew believed it was all my fault. He treated me with cold indifference, ignored me completely, and allowed others to mock me for being unable to have children. I couldn't take it anymore, so I filed for divorce. I never imagined that not long after both of us would die in an accident. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day we went to register our marriage. Andrew gave me one look, then turned around and pedaled away on his bicycle. In that instant, I knew he had been reborn too. This time I decided to let him go and fulfill his wish to be with his precious Sophia. But unexpectedly, Andrew regretted everything. He knelt before me, begging me to give him another chance, only to be kicked to the ground by my rough, straightforward new husband, Luke Harris. "You think you deserve her, Andrew?" Mark snapped. At Andrew's father's 60th birthday banquet, the Sullivan family once again humiliated me, mocking me as a barren hen. Andrew stood there, watching coldly, just as he always did. I suddenly didn't want to endure it anymore. Right in front of all the relatives, I slammed the table and shouted, "I'm not the one who can't have children. It's your useless son. You're lying. My brother gets a checkup every year. He's perfectly healthy. He just doesn't want to have kids with a woman like you." Andrew's younger sister, Susan Sullivan, screamed furiously. I turned and glared at Andrew, shocked that he had actually told them something like that. The truth was, Andrew and I were only husband and wife in name. On the day we got our marriage certificate, Sophia had gotten drunk out of heartbreak, was harassed by thugs, and jumped into the river to end her life. Andrew blamed me for everything. If you hadn't insisted on getting the certificate that day, Sophia wouldn't have died. You're the murderer. He had yelled at me back then. After that, he refused to share a room with me. I knew he was heartbroken and didn't argue. Sophia had been pitiful, her life short and tragic. I thought time would heal him, but I never expected Andrew would emotionally torture me for 20 long years. "Claire Miller, are you losing your mind again? Hurry up and apologize to Andrew." Someone shouted. Andrew's eyes flickered and he said coldly, "She deserves it." With Andrew's approval, the Sullivan family grew even bolder in their mockery. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "Andrew," I said firmly, "let's get a divorce." "You're insane," he snapped. But the Sullivan family cheered excitedly, urging him to agree. Some even began planning his next marriage right in front of me. In the end, Andrew accompanied me to the Civil Affairs office. The moment I held the divorce certificate in my hands, I felt lighter, as if a heavy burden had finally been lifted. "Claire, if you just go back and apologize to Dad, I'll remarry you," Andrew said as we stepped outside. "No one else will want you anyway." I stared at him so self-righteous, acting as if he were doing me a favor. And rage flared up inside me. I spat on the ground. The biggest mistake of my life was marrying you. God help me. In my next life, I never want to have anything to do with you again. "You'll regret this," Andrew shouted, his face twisted in anger. Just then, a small car lost control and came speeding toward us. I froze in shock, but someone shoved me hard out of the way. The piercing sound of the horn rang in my ears as the world blurred around me. I trembled and instinctively touched my head. That was the car accident. but the spot where I had been hit, there was nothing there. Now when I opened my eyes again, I found myself standing on a dusty dirt road. Looking around, I saw Andrew beside me holding his bicycle. He looked much younger. None of that cold, distant expression I had known for so long. A sudden thought struck me. I looked down at the papers in my hand. It was our stamped marriage application, our names written clearly on it, Andrew Sullivan and Claire Miller. I had been reborn. I was reborn once again, on the very day Andrew and I were supposed to get our marriage certificate. The sharp ringing of a bicycle bell echoed in my ears, and before I could react, I was knocked to the ground. Andrew turned his bike around, glanced back at me with a complicated expression, but made no move to help me up. "Andrew Sullivan, I began, but he cut me off. "I can't marry you today. Something urgent came up. You should go home by yourself," he said hastily. Leaving those words behind, Andrew jumped on his bicycle and pedaled away as if running from something. My palms clenched tightly, and a sharp sting spread through my hand. This hadn't happened in my PR.